Hi, my name is Cindy Matthews, and I'm going to be presenting today on being born and raised in a cult and what happens when you leave and the healing that counselors can help facilitate. And today, of course, Sherry is with me, and she's going to help me with the presentation. Thank you, Sherry.
You're welcome.
Okay. Um, my dissertation, which I just finished and defended, was about being born and raised in a cult. And I had 15 different participants, and I did a qualitative research study. And in the qualitative research study, I asked them what it was like to be in the cult, what it was like to come out, and then afterwards, what kind of help would you need in kind of integrating into society. Let me show you my. Let's bring up the presentation here so that you can see that.
Okay.
Okay, can you see that?
Yes, I do.
Oh, good. Awesome. So, like I said, it was a qualitative study, grounded theory, and looking at people leaving in a cult. So, Sherry, as you think about it, when you think about what a cult is, what do you think of when you think of a cult?
I think of people who are trapped in circumstances beyond their control,
Mm-hmm.
being controlled by perhaps one strong personality, um, charismatic leader, being separated away from their family members who are not a part of the same cult. If they are, then of course those people are okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and just a lot of control, a lot of mind control, a lot of decision control, and just really not being a real independent, fully actualized person.
That's great, Sherry. That actually covers a lot of what a definition of a cult is. You got it right on. Some people think of a cult as being different from Christianity, but the actual sociological definition has 7 parts to it. And you covered a lot of those points. It's all encompassing, taking time and energy. A self-appointed leader, they claim God usually, or has made them a leader, but we can't really check with God in the literature to say, hey, did you do this? So we say self-appointed, and that they often proclaim that they are God or supreme. And several of the people in my study did actually have their leader proclaiming to be God. It's organized around the members' devotion to the leader. It's the obedience. It's the mind control. All decisions are made by the group and the leader. They're very separate from the rest of the world, and the outside world is seen as inferior, and there is a lot of harm, physical, social, and emotional harm. And of course, they spend time together on a daily basis. I'm going to have you watch a video now, Sherry. It's just a short little video. And as you watch it, I want you to think, it wasn't made by me, it was made by somebody else, and it kind of is trying to pull at emotional heartstrings. As you watch it, I want you to think about what it would be like to be born and raised in a cult where you're isolated from everybody and taught only one thing, and what that would be like for you coming out, what kind of issues that you think you would have. So I want you to click on YouTube at the top there so you can hear it and see it. And I'm just going to play it real quickly here, okay? And that, okay, let's hit it. Can you see it? So,
Very.
so Sherry, as you thought about that and you were kind of listening to, it's kind of an emotional heartstring pull kind of video. As you thought about it, what were you thinking? Somebody coming out of it, what kind of issues do you think that they would be having coming out of a cult?
I think they would probably at first be very disoriented in the larger society. They would probably have a very sharp and intense paradigm shift or be going through one. It would be extremely difficult to become acclimated, I think, to a larger general society in which, people kind of make, to a large degree, their own decisions. It would just be very difficult. It would be very hard and probably very emotional for them as well.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm going to bring up my document here again that shows you 15 themes that I found for those coming out of cults. Well, excuse me, 12 themes with 15 people. It was grounded theory. And some of the themes you actually did touch on. For example, number 8 there, it says outside influences. Can you see it? Do I have it on screen? Let me put it on screen share. I missed that. There we go. Hold on, I got it. And there we go. You should see it now.
Yes.
On number 8 there, outside influences, because they are so isolated from the outside world, once they go into the outside world, it is very difficult. It's foreign. It's like, like a foreigner coming to a new country where everything is so different, and they do very much have culture shock. And you were talking about decision making. Definitely, they had problems with decision making and emotional consequences, very scared, very angry, very upset. And number 11 there, you see fear and courage, very afraid, but having the courage to overcome it, which I thought was pretty amazing for those who are in there. I'm just going to touch on one here real quickly, which is decision making. And you kind of touched on it too when you were talking about it. In the cult, of course, it's the authority figures that make all the decisions, from what they wear to what they eat to how they spend their money, how they spend their time. And so some actually left because they were tired of that. And even those who were tired of that, once they came out, they were very confused. They didn't know how to make decisions. They didn't know what to do. They wanted to make new decisions, but had absolutely no idea how to make decisions, and were very scared about making decisions. And they had difficulties with what's called black and white thinking, that everything was seen as good or bad. Like the decision about what you're going to be wearing today is an all-encompassing, oh, it's a good decision, it's a bad decision. It's not just a decision.
Right.
And then magical thinking was that if they make the right decision, they're going to be blessed for it. They're going to get heaven for it, or nirvana, as some called it. Or if they make the wrong decision about what they're going to wear, somehow there's going to be a cursing. Somehow, they're going to end up in hell or having to pay for it. And every decision is that way. And thinking that there's only one right answer to every decision, like what to wear or what to eat for breakfast. There's only one right answer, and you have to figure out what it is. And so they had a lot of difficulties struggling with that. I'm going to read you a quote here. And then as I read the quote, Sherry, I want you to think about, if you were a counselor, what would you be doing to help this person through this coming out process? So I'll read you the quote here. And this is after she left. She said, I didn't have anything. I lost my gyroscope, kind of her way of making decisions and her path or her map. Because if I wasn't in the truth, well, it was either a truth or it's a lie. So now she's decided it's all a lie. So what else do I believe that are lies? Can I smoke? And at the same time, I still wasn't sure if I was going to stay or if I was going to leave my husband. She married her husband in the cult. So was that a good decision? Was that a bad decision? And she started to question everything. I had to. So, Sherry,
Did she have children?
Yes, she had children. She had children. Absolutely. So, Sherry, as you think about that, as a counselor, what do you think are some things that you might do to help her through this coming out process?
Well, I think first of all, I would approach her quite delicately and with respect for her previous beliefs, for the beliefs and the system and the world, essentially, that she is coming out of, as she likely still has family members and people that she loves and cares for who are still in that. And I would not at all want to make her feel shameful for having been a part of it, because I think that's kind of counterintuitive to healing and to bringing someone out. I think that could actually serve to push her further back in. Also, the fact that she has children, and were they young by any chance?
Yeah, they were.
Okay, well, that would be a huge source for motivation to change or to be a part of the general society, because I'm sure she faced things as a child that she does not want her kids to have to go through. And she has an opportunity, she has the power, if you will, to change that for them. And so I would try to, as a counselor, I would try to approach it from a perspective of empowering her in her decision making, being respectful for what she thought, and being respectful for her current process of change that she's undergoing, many changes all at once.
Right.
And be there as a support as she enters this new society.
Wonderful, wonderful. And as a matter of fact, one of the reasons, Sherry, that she left was for her children. She didn't want her children to have to deal with everything that she had dealt with. And so one of the ways that she could easily be worked with as a counselor, of course, all the trust and support that you're talking about, is how to teach her children decision making, and at the same time helping her through that process. So that's a really nice angle to be able to work through with someone with the small children. And I really liked your point about being very respectful of what she believed and what was going on there. Because, you know, she was kind of duped, but she was born and raised into it. So how would she know?
Yeah, that was her only reality.
Exactly. And so teaching a client about cult mind control and how they were influenced, it really wasn't their fault. And to kind of help normalize that process and understand what she went through so that she doesn't feel guilty or to blame for what happened to her. And helping the clients learn from their mistakes, I think, is really important, because every mistake is seen as major in a cult and is often punished. And to help her understand, you know, if you had, say, chocolate for breakfast this morning and you didn't feel well, you know, that's a mistake. That's not a punishable behavior.
Right. It's not something that I should be brought out in front of everyone and publicly chastised for.
Exactly. And so teach clients how to learn from their mistakes. It's a very psychoeducational process, teaching goal setting, practicing with small decisions, and helping them make decisions and using the gray areas. We have about 30 seconds left here. Sherry, this was just about decision making. Do you have any questions or comments you want to make before we move on?
I think your presentation was fabulous, and your topic is really, it's riveting. I mean, I'm excited. I bet when you defended your dissertation, I bet they were even excited about it, because it's such a unique topic, and it's one that has been in the news in recent years. And so I loved it. Great job.
Well, thank you, Sherry. I appreciate that very much. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.